Bagpipe Hymn a Day, 98, Candler. And of course the music is on, sheet music is of my arrangement, is on Bagpipe Hymn a Day on Facebook. It's also called Ye Banks and Braes, and I don't think that the attribution is accurate, because it'll say, in Hymnals, it'll say for the tune, Ye Banks and Braes traditional Scottish melody. Well, it's not traditional, it was written by Robert Burns, and he didn't write the melody. He used a pre-existing melody, which is said, it's said that the melody he used is called the Caledonian Hunt's Delight. So that's how it should be called. Now, why it's called Candler, oftentimes I don't know. And the most common hymns seen with Candler are We Cannot Measure and Come Thou Traveler, but there's several others. And this is one of those difficult tunes that has a high B. So normally your highest note on the Scottish pipes is a written high A. It needs one note higher than that. And specifically in the third line of, I give it in two different keys. First in the key of D, and there it's where you have those high B's that are out of your range. So the third line is where they occur, and it goes, it should go properly. And so I'm just substituting high G's for the high B's. So you can just go. Now I have noticed, I looked at the four-part harmony arrangements in different hymnals, and they differ. Some have one of the harmony voices singing that G. Other versions, harmonizations, have one of the harmony voices singing F sharp instead. So in that case, instead of going to blend with the choir, you should go, you know, if you're playing it by yourself, of course, it doesn't matter. Now, the other thing you can do is drop the tune down into the key of A. Then you have that high note, but then there's notes that are suddenly now too low for you. And so I give both versions. I give the version in the key of D, and then the version in the key of A, and which has a lot more octave jumping around. I don't really know how satisfactory it is. So here it is on the pipes, or on the chanter. First in the key of a D. Now you'll notice there's, in that third line, there's three high B's. And for the first two, I just went to high G. In the third one, I went F, G. I put in two extra notes. That's because sometimes in some versions they have those extra notes in there. And so, in fact, if you're playing it by yourself, you could do that all the way through. You could play that whole third line. No, it doesn't work, not there, because you're already going. And that's probably too much. Anyway, the second version in the key of A, and you'll hear the problems of all those low notes, which now have to be taken up an octave. There's a bunch of low, what would be low Fs and low Es that now have to be go up the octave in the first two lines. Then the third line sounds great.